Alright, hey there guys, so before we get too deep into this video, this gameplay is brought to you by my Twitch stream. This was on my most recent Twitch stream that I did a few days ago. I actually did go live today, but my MUT was not logging in. But we got that figured out. We should be good to go tomorrow. But if you guys do want to get into the Twitch streams and want to watch the gameplays, guys, head on over to twitch.tv/JediBro95, and we'll be streaming there tomorrow, definitely for certain. Probably in the early afternoon, maybe late afternoon, well, depending on what the schedule is looking like. And then going to be streaming on Thursday and Friday as well. So keep an eye out for those guys. But let's get into the video. We're going to talk about some mistakes that people are making with Madden 23. Now, I know a lot of people, I know the honeymoon phase is starting to slowly but surely die out. And there's a lot of people that do not actually, like this game. And there are people who do enjoy this game, myself included. I think this game is fun. The only problem I have with this game right now is the amount of problems with the bugs and the glitches, the bugs and the other issues. Like, for example, the competitive field pass today and yesterday. I'm recording this video on the 30th. I'm redoing this video, guys, because I actually had it planned and up ready to go, but I decided to redo this video and have it for like a fresh new gameplay that's against an actual human player, not against AIs, because I did a solo battle gameplay in the background. But so yeah, that's basically the story with that, real quick. But yeah, so I'll talk to you guys. I want to talk to you guys about things that I personally do think are mistakes that people are making in Madden 23. Now, if you're not having a fun time playing this game, it's probably because you are making some of these mistakes. Now, obviously, this is not to say that you are a bad player for making these mistakes and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. I make these mistakes. Everybody makes these mistakes. It is what it is. Be it as it may. But I will touch on some things that I do think you could be doing to help make your gameplay experience a little bit more enjoyable. So with that out of the way, guys, the first thing I want to talk about for mistakes is playing this game like Madden 22. You cannot play this game like it's Madden 22, guys. You just can't do that this year. With the way the defensive line shed and get pressure on your QB is insanely good this year, and I love it. That is one of the things I do actually think is a very good thing this year that they implemented and changed up was the changes to the defensive line sheds and how often you can get and how frequently you can get pressure. Also, waiting for a deep corner or deep crosser to open up every single play is definitely not going to be the way to go because you're not going to have the time. And also, the zones play a hell of a lot better. If you just pay attention to anything related to this game, you would know that the zones actually play significantly better overall as a game. Like the outside thirds are playing corner routes now a lot better. As long as there's no streak involved. Vertical routes are getting played better by outside quarters, and just overall defense is in a much better space than it was last year. It's not perfect by any means, absolutely not, and I don't think they're ever gonna have perfect. But I would definitely say this is the way it should be for, like, Madden's going forward. This is how it should be. So, but yeah, playing this game like it's Madden 22, guys, you just can't do that. You really just cannot do that this year. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why people are not enjoying this game is because of that. And thing number 2, guys, is not investing in offensive line abilities. This year, absolutely invest in offensive line abilities. They are a premium. They are an absolute essential must-have this year, which I think is fantastic because overall, when it comes to offensive line, obviously, you do definitely need to make sure, you definitely do need to make sure that you're counteracting the defensive line abilities right now. Now, there's not very many good offensive linemen that can get things like edge protector and secure protector, and at the time I'm recording this video, Campus Heroes has not dropped yet. I do suspect we will get one Campus Hero that can get like offensive lineman that can get like secure protector or edge protector, I mean. But for the most part right now, it's definitely this game is definitely in a spot to where you definitely need to make sure you have some offensive line abilities. I would try some, abilities like Fool Me Once. It helps you gain blocker resistance faster, which will allow you to help prevent yourself from getting shedded so easily because, you're going to make it to where you're being able to protect yourself from the offensive line, from your defensive line getting shedded consistently, and also making it to where, you're getting a little bit more time in the pocket because, again, that blocker resistance, being able to get resistance for your blockers against certain offensive line moves is definitely very helpful. Also, I would absolutely recommend Tough Nut, which sounds really, really sus, but hear me out. It's an ability that gives you increased blocker resistance points, which can also in turn help make sure your offensive line is blocking a little bit better because it'll give you increased blocker resistance right away. Now, obviously, that's not going to necessarily help be a perfect solution because obviously right now the offensive line logic is also all over the fucking place. But you should be looking to invest in offensive line chems, in my opinion, or offensive line abilities, I should say. In my opinion, those things are an absolute must. Number three is staying in one coverage every single play. I liked it with the Seahawks team. I like to play Legion of Boom style defense. But even I must admit, doing that every single play, if I'm going up against somebody who doesn't know how to beat cover three, which I don't know how you're playing Madden if you don't know how to beat cover three, but hey ho, here we are. But if you struggle against cover three, I'm obviously going to keep playing it because obviously that's my base defense and that is what I like to play. And also because of the fact that as well, when it comes to that, obviously, yeah. But continuing on, I say don't stay in the same defense because obviously even a semi-competent player is going to adjust. They're going to figure out what you're calling. And as you see right here, this guy knows I'm in cover three because that's what I was playing basically the entire game. So he called a nice sail dig, which is a flood concept that you saw in that play. And obviously because I played hard flats, he just threw it over the top to the cornerback that was out in the over the cornerback that was in the hard flat. So you definitely want to make sure that you're mixing up your defenses a little bit, and you want to make sure that you're absolutely trying to make it to where you're making it difficult on your opponent to move the ball, because obviously staying in one defense is not going to be very helpful for literally anybody involved. Also, the next mistake I would say is not turning on your match coverage. People aren't turning on their match coverage this year. I don't understand why. When it comes to this game, you absolutely should be turning on your match coverage. And I would honestly recommend you don't have zone drops this year. At least as of right now, I don't necessarily know if it's going to stay that way the entire year. I personally am not running any zone drops because of this new match coverage system. If I do want to play hard flats or do want to have my flats on the outside shrink a little bit, I will just shade underneath. If I want them to play a little bit more over the top, a little bit more laid back with softer coverage, I'll definitely move into like a cloud flat, or definitely go into like a soft squat even if I must. I would definitely say make it to where you're trying to mix up your coverage, and obviously turn on your match coverage as well, because your zones in like say cover three seam, cover four quarters, cover four palms, they won't match if you don't have the match coverage on. They're not going to match at all. They're just going to play their traditional zone, and yeah, it's not going to be a fun time. So because you're going to be expecting like a seam flat to match a vertical route deep down the field if there's no threat in the flat, and then all of a sudden you see that seam is getting wide open, and you're like, what the fuck happened? Well, it's because you're not match. You don't have your match on, so that seam flat doesn't get open. So that seam flat isn't going to match the that streak down the field or down the seams. So that's what I have to say about that one. Next mistake I would say, guys, is not having a solid run game. Obviously, this year in Madden 21, last year in Madden 22, you definitely should not have been running the ball. There was no need or reason to run the ball whatsoever because of the fact that offense passing was just so good. With the lack of awareness to defensive players and the pass rush being terrible. Obviously those things were definitely one of the reasons why defense was pretty bad. And so I felt there was no need to ever run the ball unless you were just looking to kill clock. But in Madden 23, obviously this year it's a little bit different. So I would absolutely say go ahead and have a good run game. You'll see me even mix it in time and time again. I'm definitely a heavy passer. I love to pass. I love passing the ball. I love, especially out of different formations and using my brain and my knowledge and my reads to have a different look and a different play for each coverage, and also just having different concepts that I call. But I will mix in a run play here and there. Mainly a base, but I'm definitely looking to get out of my base habit and go into some inside zone, maybe do some stretches, maybe do some traps. But yeah, definitely have a good run game, guys. Mix in a little run. I do definitely think it is worth it to have a run game this year. Overall, I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to have some run game. I'm not saying be a run heavy offense. I don't like run heavy offenses. I think they're easy and they're not good whatsoever. But I do think you should definitely have a solid run game mixed in with your defense in one way, shape, or form. The next mistake, guys, is not taking your points. Obviously, I made this tweet at the beginning of Madden 23 in the beta, and I will say it again. This is a take your points year. If you're in a situation, or punting, which I'll talk about actually more in the next one. But when it comes to taking your points, you absolutely should just take your points this year. Don't pass up on a field goal, especially if it puts you ahead by 2 or 3 possessions late in the game. I would not go for it, especially even if it is like a 4th and 3. I wouldn't chance it. I would just take the points and just trust the defense. But if you absolutely need to go for it, obviously go for it. But, if you're up by like 7, for example, and you just need a field goal to extend it to 2-possession game, obviously put it to a 2-possession game. Make sure that you're going into like fourth quarter, the 2-minute warning. You put yourself up by 2 possessions. That way your opponent has to score quick and then get an onside kick, which is obviously going to be a lot harder than, if you were to go for it and miss it, because now all they need is a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and they win. So absolutely make sure you take your points this year. The next thing I would say is not taking your checkdowns. Definitely take your checkdowns this year. Take your flats. Take your running back out of the backfield. I know I talked about this a little bit, in terms of mistake, like the first thing, like playing this game like Madden 22. But I do mean it as well, guys, when I talk about like checkdowns. Take your checkdowns if they're there. Don't pass up on your running back standing in front of your offensive line. If he's there and he's wide open, give it to him. Let him get some yards after the catch. If you got a flat route that's wide open in the flats, don't force a deep pass downfield this year. Take your flat, and get maybe your 3-4 extra yards after the catch. Because if you keep doing that and you keep getting like yards after the catch, say you get a check down for like 3 yards, and then another one for like 6 yards, and then another one for like, say, 5 yards. Well, you've gained like about 14 yards in a matter of 3 plays, which is much more effective than doing taking the deep shot every single play. So I would absolutely take your checkdowns if they're there. I would absolutely make sure that you are not passing up on those quick passes or those shallow routes over the middle, or shallow routes, or those shallow routes on the sideline. So that is the next one. The next thing I would say as a mistake, guys, is making sure that you don't have linebackers on the field. Make sure that you do have at least one. This year, there doesn't really seem to be a disincentive for using linebackers or having linebackers on your field. I can confirm this straight up. I've been using Jordan Brooks and Bobby Wagner the entire year, and I've actually been quite fine with it. Like, I've not had really any issues. I've not had too many problems using linebackers. While they're not jumping, I talked about this in my good, bad, and ugly video with Madden 23. While they're not jumping, they're at least getting their hand up to knock the ball down if they're in a position to make a play, or get their hands up to catch it. And though they may not jump, that is a huge step in the right direction. But the other reason I say that is because of the fact that linebackers were given a extra incentive as they can play the run a lot better, which I can confirm. Definitely having linebackers on the field, it definitely does look like your linebackers are reacting to the run a lot better. They're getting out there and they're getting into the gaps a lot faster, and they're sealing up the edges a lot quicker, which is fantastic. So I do think that you absolutely should be looking to put in some linebackers, mainly just one. If you got one really good linebacker, like say you got a Fred Warner or a Bobby Wagner, or even like a Micah Parsons, for example, if you got one of those guys, absolutely throw them in for your sub linebacker, and then maybe user Jamal Adams or something like that, or you have somebody be a user safety. But I would absolutely say you should be looking to have at least one linebacker on your field for for defensive purposes, especially in nickel and dime. Obviously, with base defense, you can't really help it because they're automatically on the field. So that is one thing I would say about that, guys. Next one, I will definitely, these are next few ones are going to be some small tidbits. And that is not having good pocket presence. Actually, I take that back. Having good pocket presence is essential this year. This is a pocket passing year. You will not be able to scramble consistently. Like I talked about with you can't play this game like Madden 21. Yeah, you absolutely need to have good pocket presence this year. Put it to where you are, working on that footwork in the pocket, learning to step up, learning to move around in the pocket, shuffle to the side maybe. Just look for some way to increase the amount of time you have. Especially especially as like a quarterback that doesn't have a lot of mobility, for example. Like you can have a quarterback that doesn't have a whole lot of mobility, and like for me, I have 80, like Russell Wilson right now for the Seahawks team. He has about 80 speed, which is okay, but it's not like 85 speed like Lamar Jackson type of thing. So I really can't do a whole lot with that, but I will say that it is like definitely something you should be looking to work on. Go into practice mode, working on that pocket presence, just hop into a gameplay, go up against a 4 or 5 man rush, work on your pocket presence and shit like that. Next one is not using the new skill-based passing, guys. Absolutely, you should be using the skill-based passing system in Madden 23. I think it is an incredible feature. I would argue it's the best. I would say it's by far the best feature in Madden 23. I don't think it's close. The new passing mechanic, the freeform passing, the ability to just customize your pass leads and change them to however you desire is fantastic. I absolutely love it, and it's crazy because I remember back when this game was being talked about, and I remember Sports Gamers Online made an article about the fact that this was coming into the game, and I vividly remember saying, we don't need this, why is it in the game, yada yada yada, and then now here we are, and I cannot shut up about this target passing, man. I love it. It's amazing being able to have so much control over where you place the ball, putting the ball in specific areas to where only your offensive player can make a play on the ball and the defensive player can't. Putting the ball in position like you see on this play, putting it in a position to where they come back for the ball on that one like you saw. Like we just go back real quick. Like I said, this is a live gameplay on Twitch. So as you see, like on this play, this is one of the reasons I love the freeform passing. So Freddie Swain, who was just released by the Seahawks, rip. He's on a crosser. Obviously, this goes over the top of the hook zone. So me fearing that outside corner, because when I was actually taking the snap and I was going through this play, I thought right about here, when I threw this, I thought this guy right here, if I led this out here, I think he would have been able to come over to make a play on the ball, this cloud flat corner. So what I did was lead it back a little bit to the sideline here, to the inside of the field here, instead of putting it to the sideline. And Swain was able to make the swerve and come up with the catch. And that was a huge 4th down conversion to get me inside the red zone. But yeah, no, there's plenty more instances I could probably show you guys. Even on like some streams, you'll see me using the target passing. Like, I absolutely love this news feature. I cannot recommend it enough. If you are not using it, you are definitely at a disadvantage, and you should absolutely try it. This is a great feature. Please use it. Sincerely, the target passing community, which is basically everybody. So next thing on the list, guys, is just going to be not being able to recognize coverages pre and post snap. Obviously, this year they've made it a little bit harder with single high safety looks, but normally when you see a single high safety look, it's usually cover 1 or cover 3. There's no in between. But this year they added like inverted cover 2, which I think is a travesty. Do not call that coverage. I don't think it's very good. But that's a whole different conversation when we get there. But when it comes to overall, like, say, for example, like not recognizing coverages, obviously, you got to know recognize the alignment of the players. Not many people are base aligning so far this year, which I think is a bit good because obviously, base align definitely does disguise your coverage a lot better, but it doesn't make it foolproof, right? especially again if you're using the same one over and over again. Plus, if you're base aligning and calling man coverage, you got a man coverage guy, say like on a tight end, you know, he's all the way, like he may be in line, but you motion him over, that safety on the strong side, like you see right here, for example, in this man coverage situation, you know, this safety, this was baseline. First of all, he'd be way back here in the end zone. And second of all, there would be no way if this was man, because this is a drag route over the middle, he would not be able to come over here and make a play on this ball. And third and more importantly, guys, you know, you're going to have a situation to where, like, even if it's like another cross, you can have a situation to where like you cross man and you can have like just a really bad situation with your man coverage. So I would absolutely say look to recognize the coverages pre-snap. Definitely trust your pre-snap and post-snap reads, guys. You know, it is what it is with that. So yeah, I think that is about it, guys. Like I've said before on my videos, and I will say one more time, I don't do these videos via script. I do these videos off top. So these are thoughts that I've just been holding on to that I think are definitely something that you could be using. And if you guys agree or disagree with anything, obviously let me know in the comment section below, because I obviously would love to hear your guys' comments and love to hear you guys and love to see your guys' interactions. Next thing I want to talk about for theme team, Seahawks theme team lineup update will be out on Friday, guys. Keep an eye out for that. I will be giving you guys an update to the theme team. We've made a few changes to the lineup overall based on some Twitter feedback, and I'm really digging the changes that I made. I hope you guys do too. But until the next time, guys, I will see you in the next video. I'm out. Peace.